Hello everyone, this is Tiffany of Whitney and Tiffany Photography, and today we are going to go through our new set of heirloom portrait actions. So we have heirloom actions that I use on every edit, but this is more geared toward like the black and white, what many people call personality minis or heirloom minis. Many photographers do these as mini sessions, and we're hoping if you are one of them, this is going to significantly speed up your workload. So the actions are based, you can do these one-click actions where literally it's one click. So I will run this and it goes through and picks and chooses through our bases and through the black and whites and then the different types of features that we have, and it makes the black and white heirloom portrait for you. So it adds in the vignette, it adds in all of that for you. Or you can pick and choose your own. So there you go, one click. And if this is something that you like, well, then there you go. You're done in literally one click, or you can go through and add in whatever you'd like. So these are our one click, or maybe you use the one click and then you go in and do some retouching on your own. I can delete this one. I can show you that was number 3. This is number 5. And if you find one of these you like and that suits you, then fantastic, because then your workload is significantly sped up. So, but I am going to go through, so here you are. There's another one. And if you wanted to add in a vignette, most of these are white, so it probably wouldn't look right. That's probably why it's not on there, so never mind. But there you go. It's literally one-click actions, but I am going to go through and I am going to do this piece by piece. So I'm going to pick a base. I'm going to pick Heirloom Base 4, and I'm going to run that one. And it's just going to give us a base here. So this was taken, and if you look, it almost has like a purple hue to it. This was taken on the back of a fleece backdrop. So I literally just turned a backdrop around and used that as my backdrop, but it's not really white. So we're going to have to take that and fix that in a little bit. So I'm running Heirloom Base 4, and now we're going to go through and we are going to smooth her skin. So if you want to give her skin, whiten the skin and smooth it, we'll just play this one. I'm going to use the other one actually, but I can show you what this looks like. So it literally makes the skin white, and then you just go through and you can decrease the opacity. So if you want almost like that doll skin, I am not going to use that one. I'm just going to use my natural skin smoother because we're going to turn it black and white anyway. So I like my skin very smooth for these black and white portraits, but if you want, again, you can just reduce the opacity. So we'll just wait for this. And then I always go back through and use our frequency separation action as well. So I'm just at 100% going through and smoothing out very quickly her skin. And then I add in definition later on with dodging and burning. So this is taking away some of the definition of her skin, but it will get added back in. So if I use my backslash key, I can just see the areas that I missed. So this whole area here. All right, and in an effort to save time, I'm just going to go with that. So I can zoom her out and then zoom her back in and turn this off and on. So if you want to smooth your subject's skin, you can. I'm just going to drop this a tad. Again, it's not something that you have to do, but if you like it, like I do, we've got an action in here for you. Okay. So I'm going to go through here now and work on her eyes. I'm going to brighten the eye sockets, which is, this picture doesn't really need it because I had my softbox so close to her, but just to show you. And then this, you can add to the lights, the catch lights, or you can actually use it to add in another catch light. I'm just going to use it to enhance the ones that we already have. But I'm going to drop the opacity. Boosting the eye color literally does just that. So it's going to take and boost. I am not going to use that. If you would like to add, like for example, if your subject has blue eyes and you'd like to enhance that blue, you can go over that and then choose a color. My subject doesn't have blue. If I wanted to add in red, whatever. Again, I'm not going to use that, and this is going to darken the limbal ring. So if I turn that off and on, and then I zoom out, sometimes I need to zoom out with this one. I'm just going to drop the overall opacity, and then I'm going to go back to this and drop this one. It's really bright. Okay. So it's just enhanced the eyes a little bit, and her eyes aren't looking right at us either. So I don't need to add as much because we already have so much light going into her eyes because she's looking right at the softbox. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is dodge and burn. Oh, and I accidentally just put that right in there. I'm just going to hit delete and close this up, and then I'm going to run my dodge and burn. Okay, so I open this up, and I have dodge, burn, and glow. So the glow is going to be literally this bright. So we want to drop the opacity or the flow. I'm just going to put my flow at like a 3%, and I'm going to zoom in, and I'm just going to add a little bit on her lips. Add onto her little nose here. And above her eyes. And then I need to do the same. I'm still at a flow of 3. And I'm going to go through and burn some areas to bring back some of that definition. I'm going to burn her little eyelashes. Sweet little nose. She's just such a little angel. And then if I wanted to go, I could up the flow a little bit, and I could go through and also use this to dodge and burn her clothing. Which is something that I typically do to give this more of like a painted look. However, in an effort to save some time so that this isn't an hour long, I'm just going to show you a little bit. So dodging, and there's the dodging, or the burning, I'm sorry. And then I'm going to drop this opacity back down to like a 3. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of light. Into her hair. I'm going to fix this with frequency separation, but we also have an under eye corrector that we could use on that too. Okay, so if I collapse on my dodge, burn, and glow and turn that off and on, we can see what that has done. If you have, like right here, my highlight is a little bright, and it is very difficult shooting on an all-white backdrop. We have a quick decrease highlight. So if I turn that off and then back on, you can see, if I click on the white and hit Command-I to invert it with a white brush, and I would want my flow turned up to 100, I can paint on the area that I want to use it and then just adjust opacity over here. So that cheek was a little bright for me. Excuse me. So I'm just going to do that. We have the same with increasing shadows. I'm going to add a little bit of, close that back up. I'm going to add a little soft glow contrast. So you can see what that's doing when I turn it off and on. Okay, so now is where I want to whiten my backdrop. So this is not affecting my subject whatsoever, but if you can see the difference, like she was shot on a white backdrop, but it clearly is not very white. So that action in one click is going to really whiten your backdrop. If you want to also brighten the backdrop, you can do them separately or you can do that together. So this is like really, really bright for me. I'm going to drop that even lower, but just brighten it up a little bit. It all completely depends on personal preference. So now is where we choose our black and white. So what I am going to do is I am just going to run all of them, and then I can show you how that works. So we have this for everything. Run all the vignettes, run all the black and whites, run all of the one click, and then you can just go through and click, but sometimes that takes a little bit longer to do. So if you find one or two that you like and want to just stick with those, it's completely up to you. But I will run this to show you how that works and how you can just go through and quickly pick what you'd like. Okay, so not too bad. Now you can go through, and some of them it actually gives you like a little preview and some it doesn't, but you just click and pick what you like. So here's number 11, here's number 10, number 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So literally you just go through and pick the one that you think fits the photo best. I mean, does your subject have dark hair, light hair? Do you want it bright? Do you want it a little bit darker, more contrast, less contrast? It all depends. So I think I'm going to go with number 4 on this one. Okay, so I'm going to choose heirloom number 4. Now I need to pick my vignette. Excuse me. So I can just go about and run all the vignettes, but I am going to do the blow out the edges. So I like the portraits in which the arms are actually fading into the backdrop. So I am going to grab my black brush and I'm going to at 100% mask this off of her hair. There we go. I'm going to do all white vignette number 8, adding in a little bit more. And then I'm going to do the white blur. So I like to add in a little bit of blur as well. And same thing, I need to take that off of my subject. So we did the best we could to try to fit everyone. All right, so here's what we have. Now, if this is good for you, great. If you want something that takes off a little bit more of the arms, you can run our mask your own white vignette. So I'm going to run this. Excuse me. And it says, with a black brush, mask off the white in the areas where you do not want to see the vignette. So I'm going to hit continue. And then with a black brush, you do just that. Exactly what it says. You mask off the areas. So I'm going to put this in And if I turn this off and then on, you can see that that does just a little bit more. So for example, if your image isn't cropped tight or there's pieces of hands or whatever you don't want, this is kind of like a fallback that you can use to make your subject kind of fade into it. So it's just something that we added in case the vignettes that we offer don't work for you, then you can do your own. Even though it's not really a vignette, it's more you just masking off. So I'm just going to take this a little bit more and I'm going to leave it like that. Okay. And then the last thing that we have are painting effects. So I'm going to run like a painting. And that's going to just add in some contrast. To me, that's a little bit too much. So if I put that off and on, if we wanted to do a painted look, I am going to run Heirloom Painting Soft. I'm not sure if you can hear my computer, but it is just firing up in the background. So if I turn that off and on, you can see what that's doing. It's giving almost like a painted look. To me, that's way too strong. So I'm going to bring it down, and I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to put a layer mask on it. I'm going to hit Command I to invert it. And we have a painterly hair action as well, but if you don't have that one, you can go through. I'm going to go through and just paint this on her hair. All right. So now I am going to go back up and I am going to do our frequency separation. I'm just going to hit continue and OK. And then I'm going to add in the non-destructive edit layers. I don't see any texture issues. Let me zoom way in. I don't see any little hairs or anything. If we wanted to get rid of these, we can. So I'm on the texture edit and it automatically takes our clone tool. I'm hitting my option key and I can just get rid of these little hairs if we want. Right here, she's got a little something. But I'm really not seeing any other issue as far as texture is concerned. If I wanted to go through and clean up all of these with texture, I could. All right, so, but I'm more interested in this blur/color edit. So I'm going to grab a mixer brush and I've got 30, 25, 25, and 52. I'm going to bring this down a little bit. And I'm just going to mix the colors together. So if I'm dark around the eyes, your subject has, like my daughter has dark circles under her eyes. This is not my daughter. So a lot of times I can use the frequency separation for that. Right here, she's got this real dark shadow under her lip. So I can go through and try to even that out a little bit. Command Z that and undo that. All right, so I'm going to zoom out, and if I turn that off and back on, again, off and on, you can see that it just works to mix the colors together and smooth things out a little bit more. So I can turn that off and on again. All right, and then we have like a final sharpening action that you can use, but I am going to grab a picture of this. So this is the start, and here is where we finished. So this is, I'm just at 21 minutes, but again, walking you through everything. Using these actions, you could realistically do this in 5 minutes per picture or less. So once you found what you liked, and if you liked one of the one click, well then 5 seconds or less. So we hope you love them, and we hope that they help with your workflow. And as always, if you guys want to see anything or have any questions, you can always reach out and ask, and we'd be more than willing to work on that. Thank you all so much.